Welcome back to the Triple Double Watch, guys. Today we got an MLB video. Only about 2.5 weeks left in the regular season, and then postseason's right upon us. Still some exciting races to be determined, so we're going to hop right into the National League right now. And we'll talk standings first. Ant, you got the standings for us?
Yeah, so the Dodgers have clinched their division in a playoff spot twice, actually. But they clinched the playoff spot, clinched their division, so
practically
Padres
clinched the 1 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, they got 8 games on the Mets right now, so well, 8
it's
more.
9.5, isn't it?
Yeah, because of the loss column.
So they're clinched. The Cardinals are 7.5, 8 now technically as we film.
Yeah.
So getting close. Magic number's probably about to be single digits here soon. And then you got the battle for the East is going to come down to the wire. The Mets and Braves are separated by a game.
Just in the win column, too.
Yeah, a game. So, a lot to still happen there. Obviously, whoever doesn't win that division will probably be the first wild card and play most likely the Cardinals first round. And then Philadelphia, San Diego, and Milwaukee are the real only contenders for the other 2 wild cards, so that's going to get interesting. Right now, Philadelphia's a game and a half up on San Diego, and San Diego's a game and a half up on Milwaukee.
Yep.
So, yeah, a lot of stuff to still happen, but the West is decided, and Central's getting close.
Yeah, it'd be hard for the Cardinals to blow it at this point. 2 games left against Milwaukee. Milwaukee would absolutely have to win them both. It couldn't be a split. And then Cardinals played Dodgers and Padres both on a West Coast trip. They'd have to go cold, and Milwaukee'd have to get hot against. They got to play both New York teams. As we're filming, they're playing the Yankees right now. We're filming on Saturday the 17th. You might be seeing this on Monday or something probably. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pivotal series this weekend as we're filming. We'll talk later. Twins and Guardians are playing right now. Guardians can almost solidify the division, if they win a lot against the Twins this weekend. Like you said, Braves-Mets is the real division left in the entire MLB, really. And they play last weekend of the season now. With the scheduling this year, there's a Monday through Wednesday series too, but they play the last weekend before that, a 3-game set, and that very well could decide the division. Yeah, so the Mets and Braves tiebreaker. The Mets are currently 9-7 against the Braves, so that last series, unless the Mets are down in the standings, they would really only need to win 1 of 3 to have a good shot at the division then. Yeah. But that's going to be a great series regardless. Definitely going to matter, you would assume.
Yep.
Unless one team goes on a 10-game winning streak or the other goes on a really bad losing streak. Yeah, I'm probably rooting for the Braves too in that division. So, and then moving on to the wild card. You mentioned the standings. Cardinals are probably going to play the 6th seed. They are playing the 6th seed if they're the 3 seed. Yeah. They're going to play one of these 3 teams. I still don't think I want it to be the Brewers. I predicted at the All-Star break that...
I keep getting that mixed up.
Yeah,
I keep putting
the 4
playing there.
At the All-Star break, I think I said the Brewers wouldn't make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure I predicted that. At the time, they were leading the division. So that's looking pretty well right now. So for prediction-wise, I want that to stay true. But we've discussed it plenty of times. I don't know who the Cardinals would want to play still between Phillies, Padres, and Brewers. So
the Brewers, are we still split with them or one?
We're 1 up. We're 8-7.
Yeah, I'm not too confident
9-8.
Hitting off of that pitching in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, I guess, Philly or San Diego, and it's tough. San Diego's lineup's probably a little bit better, but Philadelphia's pitching is slightly better, I think. So It's kind of a tough one there.
Yeah, and if the Braves wind up as the 4 seed and the Phillies go 5, as it's currently lined up, the Braves have killed the Phillies this year. So that is not what the Phillies want necessarily, too. I mean, it's really odd circumstance because you can't play to lose, obviously, but the 6 seed is more inviting than the 5 seed right now. So, but we'll see how that shapes out. The NL is going to be good. Anything to wrap up the NL, man? Or?
Well, I guess we could just mention the rest. San Francisco and Arizona are 9.5, 10.5 out of the wild card.
And then insane.
By the time you see this, the Cubs and Rockies could have already been eliminated. They're currently 2 games from being eliminated, and then Miami, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Washington have officially been eliminated. So
see you next year.
Yeah. So that moves to the AL. Houston has clinched a playoff spot, most likely the 1 seed.
8 games up on the Yankees, 7.5.
So, Yankees are currently 5.5 up on Toronto for the East, and Cleveland is currently 6. Yeah, 6. No, that's 6 above Minnesota.
Yeah, I think they're 5 or 4.5 above.
4.5 above Chicago. So, I predicted Cleveland winning that division at half.
I think I said Minnesota, which is not looking good at all.
So that's pretty good. The divisions are not necessarily close right now. There still could be some pushes, but other than Houston, I think the West is locked. The others could change, but most likely won't. Toronto is a 1.5 games up for the 4 seed. Seattle is a half game up for the 5, and Tampa Bay is the 6, and then Baltimore's 4.5 out. The White Sox are 6.5 out of the wild card. Minnesota's 8 out of the wild card. Boston's 10, and then Texas is 2 games from being eliminated. The Angels are 1 game away, and Kansas City, Detroit, and Oakland have been eliminated.
Yeah. So the biggest takeaway for me is it's looking like the 6 playoff teams in the AL are set. I mean, I think the clock has finally struck midnight on the Orioles. At the time of recording this, they're playing the Blue Jays. They desperately need to win today, tomorrow, the next day. I mean, they got to get on a little 4-game streak or something and beat the Blue Jays, because that's one of the teams that could still potentially drop out. But if they don't get hot again quick, which is crazy to say because they've basically been hot the whole second half still, but it's looking over. They don't play the Rays again. I'm not sure. They might play the Blue Jays one more time. They don't play the Mariners again. The Mariners have a super easy schedule. The Orioles have not an easy schedule by any means, so it's looking rough.
I will say I've mentioned this before, but if you look at their last 10 for all these teams, it's like the people leading the division are 8-2, 7-3, 8-2, and then Toronto's 7-3, and then you go Seattle's 5-5. They're just kind of there. Tampa Bay's 4-6, and Baltimore's 4-6. If any of those teams would perform better, they could easily jump the others. Mm-hmm. Even Chicago, they're 6-4. They could maybe get on a little run. Probably have a better shot at the division other than the wild card, but. Yeah, I mean, these teams could all do it, but like you said, it seems like it's the 6.
Yeah.
And then the NL, I didn't even think about looking at the top 10, or the last 10 for them. Kind of the same. I mean, the top are 7-3, 6-4, 6-4, and then you got Atlanta 6-4, Philadelphia 7-3, San Diego 5-5, Milwaukee 6-4. So those are, like, it's pretty even for them compared to the AL. It's more of the wild card teams haven't been doing too great, but it feels like it's a set 6 and then a set 7, and to see who gets eliminated in the NL out of the 3.
Yeah, and as far as the AL, I still want to hold on hope for the White Sox or the Twins. They both play the Guardians another time even. Twins are playing them currently. I think they play them another time even. But we're getting to the point it's going to take a sweep against them. You can't just win the series now. The White Sox are still very talented, and they could pull off a 9-1 in 10 games, but definitely leaning towards the Guardians now. And they look strong, though. They're a team that could make a little bit of noise against the Yankees. And, well, if they get to the Yankees, they got to play a good team anyway. So
it's going to be interesting. It doesn't feel like last year. Last year we had these game 163 scenarios, and will the Mariners get in? Like, that was a crazy last game. Kind of sucks that game 162 is not that Sunday. But still going to be all day games.
Wednesday day games.
Day games. Every single team starting at the same time, pretty much within like a 20-minute span. So still going to have that same feeling, but not quite. It'll be a Wednesday midweek instead of Sunday.
So quickly, I wanted to go over. We have 2 more topics left today's episode. One, I wanted to go over each playoffs team's top 4 pitchers, kind of what we're looking at postseason wise. So we'll go We'll go 7 on. Well, yeah, White Sox, Twins. Sorry, you're not going to get mentioned currently.
7 on.
We'll go 7 on each side. We'll include Baltimore's chances, and we'll include Milwaukee as solidly has a chance. We'll go back to the NL first. We'll kind of just go top to bottom. So we'll talk about the Dodgers' top 4 come postseason.
Oh,
it's got to include.
Wheeler's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's got to include Urias.
Gonsolin.
Gonsolin, if he's back, he's injured right now. Supposed to be back relatively soon. Probably includes Kershaw. Well, actually, definitely includes Kershaw too, staying healthy. 4th, probably Tyler Anderson.
It's a toss up there. You got Anderson, you got May,
and Heaney. That's been good.
It's just like I've talked to you with the Cardinals. It's like, who do you feel more comfortable with bringing out of a bullpen?
I think they definitely would be fine with bringing Dustin May out of the bullpen. He's only pitched about 4 starts or so, and he's a high velocity, high leverage guy in general anyway. So I think they would do one of the lefties of Anderson and Heaney.
I think it'd be Anderson most likely.
But at the same time, I could see them doing Dustin May just for the fact that Urias and Kershaw are already lefties. So maybe it depends who you're playing. But yeah. Nevertheless, been the strongest rotation in baseball pretty much all year. So moving on. Let's talk about some Mets, and we got the 1-2 locked up for them.
If they're healthy.
Yeah. Assuming we got Scherzer and Scherzer, whatever.
Yeah.
3, I would think Bassett. He's been good all year. Walker would probably be 4. Carlos Carrasco could provide good innings as a long reliever in the postseason or whatever else. But yeah, that feels pretty set too. But their rotation is scary come postseason time. I think it's better than the Dodgers, even though season long it may not have shown that. I think when you get in a postseason series, theirs is better.
Yeah.
And that would be what carries them past the Braves and then the Dodgers if they play them in the postseason, whatever else. So.
Yeah, and then we've talked about the Cardinals a lot. Obviously, you've got Montgomery's been pitching really well.
Yeah.
You got Wainwright and Michaelis, and then you got Quintana. And then it's really who do you go from there?
Yeah.
Our 5th spot's been a little up in the air. Is Flaherty gonna finally step up? Is he gonna be healthy? We don't know. So
yeah, I think we've talked about it a lot off camera too. I think the top 3. Flaherty just pitched yesterday. He was all right, not great again. I think
you want to see him be great.
Exactly, to trust him in a playoff series especially. So I think top 3 is pretty set in some way, shape, or form. Wainwright, Michaelis, Montgomery. And
Quintana, I think, has solidified the 4.
Probably. I still think Flaherty could work into the 4, and that's kind of a play it by ear and feel it out when you get to the NLDS anyway. Neither of them would have to pitch in the wild card series as a starter.
Yeah, this our thing. We're going to have to play a wild card game, and we've been talking about who would not be in that.
Yeah,
wild card series. I think it'd be Quintana. I think it's pretty set, the 3.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on some more, we'll go to the Braves now.
Braves look solid. They're
very good too.
They have the rookie of the year, Spencer Strider. They have Kyle Wright as well.
Yep, and then Charlie Morton
is.
And I think that's the 4. If they have to play a wild card series,
I think Morton or Wright is out, obviously.
Probably. They could even use Strider, though, as a high-leverage 3-inning guy in one of the 3 games and then save him from 1. But they're all 4 spectacular, so that's, it's good to have those choices for sure.
Not having him healthy this year is really sucked.
For sure. And
Mike
so
Soroka.
Once they get to the postseason, too, and a potential NLDS, those 4 are set, and then they still got guys that could come out of the bullpen with Odorizzi then, and Soroka if he comes back, Ian Anderson if he comes back. So I swear I've heard people say that though for him. So I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was
never
right
once
at the
heard
time.
that.
I have once or twice. But anyway, moving on. We'll go to the Phillies now, other NL East team. The Phillies have a scary rotation too.
Yeah, if they're consistent.
If they're consistent, they're on. This is what's going to get them through the postseason.
Nola Wheeler.
1-2, Nola Wheeler, for sure.
Gibson center guard, I think.
Now, that would be 3 and 4 probably, but who's 3 in the wild card series? I think is a big question.
Gibson.
Probably so.
I think Gibson. I think you can use Suarez and Syndergaard in that series, and then come back around to the other one maybe, or somebody, whoever the fourth. They'll fight Eflin as well.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, though. And then they got to play the Braves or the Mets, so that's rough.
I'd say you use everybody you got in that wild card series. So.
And then see what happens after.
And then San Diego.
San Diego's pitching's been struggling. It was dominant to start the year. You still got a set 1-2 in Musgrove and Darvish.
Yeah. I think
Snell's probably 3.
And then it's Clevenger and Manaea.
Manaea has not been good this year for them in general. I think it'll probably be Clevenger as the 4 if they get there. But they at least have their 3 set up for the wild card then, Musgrove, Darvish, and Snell. But all of them have had some problems as of late and spot starts here and there. So hopefully they get it right going into hopefully the postseason for them. It could be another collapsed season. So
and then we know who Milwaukee's got at the
last
top.
team in the NL, you got Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff. The 3 is still...
Yes, it's when they're hurt like this, they have Peralta and Lauer out right now, and Ashby as well. So it's really Hauser, I guess, is right now.
Which you don't love.
Yeah.
I haven't heard news on Freddie Peralta, but you hope he's back. I don't know. Besides Burns and Woodruff, they got guys, but nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
So
Freddie Peralta is spectacular when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Right now he's not. So.
And he just never fully seems like he is.
So if you look at the pitching, as a Cardinals fan, I think you'd love to see San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to think about the lineups, and clearly you'd like to see Milwaukee in that scenario.
Yeah.
So if Milwaukee doesn't have a healthy third, you really want to see Milwaukee, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, this is clearly recency bias, but the Cardinals just played Corbin Burns at home and hit him pretty well.
Exactly. So. I think I've determined internally that I just don't want it to be the Phillies at this point.
Yeah.
I think all the lefties they have kind of scare me too in the batting lineup. Bryce Harper and they got a few others, but whatever. And I was thinking like Brandon Marsh and but even guys that'll just be annoying lefties against our team, and so I just don't think I'd want to play the Phillies because they can get.
I would say their lineup is just below the Padres, and their pitching is above both of them.
Exactly. So, swinging over to the AL now real quick. Astros have too many options to count.
They have too many options to count the regular season, let alone the postseason.
So they won't have to play in a wild card series, so we'll go and just imagine a straight 4 here. It's definitely going to include Verlander.
Verlander, Fromber, I think are locked.
And then I think 3 is probably...
I think
McCullers, and then you have Javier or Garcia.
Javier's out. No,
probably
Urquidy or Garcia.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Javier's out. He's not even in the rotation regular season.
It'd probably be Garcia, I would think.
I don't know. Urquidy's really good.
What is this? Urquidy's got a 4.36. I think this is current. 4.36. No, this is not current. Anyway.
I think Urquidy's the 4.
Yeah.
Or even could be the 3. McCullers could go bullpen. You could use Garcia and Urquidy. But I don't think that would be the move. But... yeah, they have too many options to count, but
then they got Hunter Brown, who's looked amazing too, and be in their bullpen probably.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing in the playoffs. So the Yankees, you got Cole,
and you got a lot of. Yeah, you got Cortez. He'll be at 2. I feel sure.
Tyone, Montas, Tyone.
Probably Tyone 3. Montas has been very inconsistent for the Yankees since coming over, so I think that would be your 3. But they probably don't have to play in a wild card series either. Well, they definitely don't if they win the division. So you got Cole, Tyone, Cortez, probably Montas is the 4. I haven't heard word on Severino if he's got a chance of coming back or not. But
Herman out of the bullpen would be good.
Yeah, for sure. And then the Guardians. Guardians pitching has been carrying them all year pretty much. Got to find them on here. Definitely got Shane Bieber 1. Probably Tristan McKenzie 2. Probably Quantrill 3.
Yeah, and that would be their wild card.
That'd be your wild card. Add in a 4th. It could be, is it Savali?
Yeah. Or
could be Plesac. Yeah, so. But their top 3 look good. They could definitely get them through wild card series, and then anything could happen. So.
And the wild card teams right now, Toronto, they got a lot of guys that I feel like have been not pitching to their highest potential.
Yeah.
You got Manoah, obviously, he's been great.
Gosman's been pretty good.
Barrios and Gosman.
Barrios has been shaky all year for the money they gave him and whatnot.
But that's your three, definitely.
I think
wild
so.
card.
Yep.
If they have a fourth.
I think it's actually Ross Stripling. He's been really good at the start of this year. So
that's pretty solid four for them.
Let's go to the Rays next because they're right here for me.
Well, they might end up using the bullpen the whole series other than
basically
the way they pitch. So I think Springs has been solid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you go McClanahan. You got Springs and Kluber, and then if you got
Rasmussen's been good too at times. So
they're really an interesting pitching team.
But they won't be afraid behind McClanahan, after McClanahan, I should say, to only use guys for 2 to 3 innings at a time.
Yeah.
So
that's how they roll.
And hey, I respect it. So.
Seattle's rotation looks far better than it did before the trade deadline with Castillo there at the top. So
your 1-2's Robbie Ray, Castillo,
and then
whatever
Gilbert.
Order. Yeah.
So
that's your set three. And then you have a lot of guys.
Kirby, I think.
Probably so. And sometimes he can only go 4 or 5 innings because he's still a rookie. He's still got Chris Flexen and Marco Gonzalez. They got a lot of arms now for sure.
Yeah.
So
and you add in a guy like Castillo at the top, and the rest of this looks even better. So.
Exactly, and I think Gonzalez could be good lefty out of the bullpen for him anyway. So
Cardinal legend.
Yeah, and then
rounded out with the Orioles, who's
might be.
They got Tyler Wells, Austin Voth.
Or 30th because this was from so long ago.
They got Voth, Wells, Bradish, Dean Kramer. It's just you got Jordan Lyles, I guess, Spencer Watkins and D.L. Hall. Those are good pieces. But
I was thinking about this the other day, and what would this season look like too with John Means?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, he was
Kendall has talked about
pretty
this,
solidified ace.
That he gets you at least 10 more wins
for the whole season.
Yeah.
Well,
you would think.
Are we talking WAR based, or because that would be insane?
Him pitching, you probably have a chance at winning at least 10 more games.
Yeah, you would have I get what.
Yeah, so if you added, say they had 5 more games from him,
I would say
that's your tie.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and he was working himself into a solidified ace. And guys like Jordan Lyles and Dean Kramer have been great, but they're even better when they're 2 and 3 and not 1 and 2. So, but again, that's great for the future.
Well, this is interesting. We're talking about the pitching rotations for these teams. Frankie Montas, as we're filming, is set to have a shoulder MRI. Felt something after his last start.
Well, that is not good for the Yankees.
So, obviously, that's an initial report. I don't know how serious it is. So, if he's out, and obviously he's been inconsistent, but if he's out, that's lowers them even more.
Yeah, I'm no longer scared of the Yankees in the playoffs. Come playoff time,
when they were on a record pace about a quarter way into the year, we were like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah, now the Dodgers still have a chance, I think. Right?
They're at 99
and 43. So 44. So they do. They still do.
Unlikely, but
yeah. Anyway, to wrap up today's episode, we're going to talk about some recent rule changes MLB came out with will be implemented into the 2023 season. So first one, we'll talk about pitch clock.
Yeah.
So average time of pitches has been 24 seconds or so. Sometimes it is pretty unnecessary by certain pitchers, especially.
Cheap on the guys.
So they're going to have 15-second pitch clock if no one's on base. 20-second pitch clock if there is somebody on base,
and 30 seconds between batters.
Yeah. So I don't know. Overall, I have a super fan of it, but I like it.
It says the last check, the pitch timer reduced average time of minor league games by about 26 minutes, which a lot of guys at that age are not as adapt to the MLB pace, so it might be a little inflated. But the stupidest part, the most interesting part of this rule, in my opinion, is the pick-off part.
Yes.
You can pick off to first. I guess it's to every base. Any base, you get 2.
No,
total.
It's just 2 for a plate appearance.
That's what I mean. So any base, all combined, you get 2 attempts.
All combined.
So you could have a guy at first and second, which usually you wouldn't pick off the first, but I've seen it.
But
you could pick off the second one time, pick off the first one time, and then you're done. So this is what's going to be interesting: is the stolen base rates.
It's gonna boom.
You can only pick off twice, and then after that, it's a balk. If you attempt to pick off
a third time, but you have to get an out.
If he's safe on the third attempt, it's a balk. Everybody misses a base. That's really dumb to me. It's pretty much gonna make that third, like after 2 attempts, if anybody does it,
it's gonna be non-existent.
That's a huge lead you're gonna get.
And I talked to you about it too, like. I heard this was a possibility a couple months ago, but when I originally heard it, I heard the rule was going to be 3, and then you can't do a 4th. And that would have been like somewhat feasible with me, but like you said, this third one's never going to happen, and it's kind of a chain effect. The second one will almost never happen because then if you don't get it on the second one, you can't use the third one. So it's really just going to be like one true one per plate appearance.
You ain't got any but bluff pickoffs anymore.
Exactly, and so stolen bases are going to boom. And I love stolen bases. I love running. It's just I think 2 is extreme. I don't mind the rule, but 2 is extreme.
The stats on here says for the minor leagues, they've been messing with this rule for a couple years, I think. So the minor leagues steal attempts were 2.23 a game in 2019 at a 68% success rate. And then with this rule this year, it went up to 2.83 and 77% success rate. So that's a 9% success raise.
Yeah, at a higher volume.
A 0.6 steal per attempts game, which is at 2.23 to 2.83 is pretty big.
Now, I don't know if that article ever says, but do you know if the minor leagues ever did 3 pickoffs instead? Sure. Because I thought I heard the original thought was 3. And like I said, I just think 2, overall I dislike the rule, but I wouldn't be so upset with it if it was 3, even 4 maybe. 2 is it's really extreme.
And another interesting part of the whole pitch clock is the batters rolling it. If they're not in the box and looking at the pitcher at the 8-second mark, it's an automatic strike.
Yep.
That is it just feels so, like, generated, like, you know what I mean? It's just...
Well, and I've talked about this too with other people that when I'm watching a game on TV, I do want it to be sped up a lot of times. But when I'm physically at the ballpark, I could sit there all day. I really don't, a true baseball fan, I really don't care. But I get it from other perspectives. And like I said, on TV, I want it to be sped up too. But the problem with the pickoff rule too is like, this isn't taking into account, like, a plate appearance could be 3 pitches and it could be 10. I mean, and so if it's a 10-pitch long drawn out at bat, your pickoff attempts never reset still though. And so
and this, you were asking about what it was in the minor leagues. This is at the bottom. It says the MLB version of the rule is altered from the one used in the minors this year. The minor leagues was a 14-second timer with bases empty in 18 or 19, depending on the level, with runners on. The batters had to be in the box by the 9-second mark, and it was a strict limit of 2 disengagements per plate appearance. Does not reset if the runner advances either.
Yeah. Which is also kind
of... In the most recent week of play, the minors had an average of 0.45 violations per game.
Yeah. It's going to be...
every 2 games, you're going to see a violation of this rule.
It'll be heavily talked about April 2023 when opening day is rolling around. We'll have some weird, wacky
This one will also be talked about. The next rule.
The shift?
The shift has been banned, effectively. So basically, all the infielders, all 4, I think you can bring in a 5th, but it has to be the outfielder.
Yeah.
And the infielders must remain, or no, you can't bring in a 5th. You can send an infielder to the outfield, I think it was. See, or is it the other way around?
I think the outfielder can go to infield.
Okay, yeah.
They said so no 4-man outfield.
No 4-man outfield. So the Blue Jays are screwed.
Yes, exactly.
Anyways, the infielders have to be within the dirt, pretty much, or the edge.
Yep.
And then 2 second and first have to be on that side of second, and short and third have to be on the left side. So, we there's very few things we differ heavily on, and this is one of them.
Well, I told you in reality a while back, I'm really 50-50 on it.
I feel like you lean towards against this though.
Yes, I do slightly, and maybe it's because I would love if teams really took an effort into dropping down bunts on these extreme shifts and stuff. But I understand bunting's not the easiest thing in the world, especially when they're throwing 70-mile-an-hour curveballs and then 95 at your dome. So I get that too.
I'd love to see somebody try to lay a bunt on Ryan Helsley.
Yeah, exactly. It's much easier said than done, but the excitingness that I want to see in the game of baseball likes this new rule. But the strategic side of me, I love kind of the percentages and stuff behind it at times. And when people do beat the shift, I think that's great then. That's kind of a fun part for me too. So that part hates it, but overall, I'll get used to it. I'll like it just fine.
I've been calling for it for a while. I can't stand seeing four guys almost on the same side of the infield. It just feels, again, generated. Like, you could send everybody to one side when the percentages, obviously I get that the batter's got to be better, but it's just not. Being a lefty, I understand it's not as easy said. And especially with the pitcher, I mean, a lot of times people will pitch to the shift.
Pinpoint. So,
but this was interesting, the results of if a team violates it. I never even read what that was.
And it's like, how would you violate it? Like,
well, it says if the infielders are not aligned properly at the time of the pitch, the offense can choose an automatic ball or the result of the play. So, say they violate the rule and you get a double into the gap, you can still keep that.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It's kind of like the advantage in soccer.
Say they violate the shift, you hit it to that person or hit it to anybody, and you're out. You can choose to have it as a ball and go hit again. So it's pretty interesting.
Which is weird, though. I don't know if we'll ever really see a violation of the shift. It's like, just don't stand where you can't. But
it says it does not preclude a team from positioning an outfielder in the infield. But does prohibit four outfields.
So what'll be cool about this too, though, is the shift kind of really took off come 2010, 2011, further on. I don't really know when it started in general at times, but this will be a great kind of like history tidbit of baseball, though, looking back on it in 10 years, kind of the usage of the shift, the increase. Now everybody's doing it. And now it's like, ooh, it's kind of not fun.
All right, so this last rule is a pretty quick one. Kind of not really a huge ordeal, but the bases have been 15 inches. They're going to be increased to 18 square inches. So not the plate, obviously, but the first, second, third base bags will be 18 instead of 15, which some people, I mean, I don't understand the negatives to this. I mean, safety-wise, being a first baseman that's been hurt at a play at first due to a runner, it's huge. I think it says it will create a 4.5 inch reduction in the distance between first and second base.
That's the only negative if you already think. And so that's another factor we already mentioned. You can't get off the mound more than 2 times. Well, now it's like slightly shorter to slide into second base.
Yeah, that's the real.
So stolen base is going to boom.
That's the only negative.
But that's not even like it. Yeah.
But I look at this safety wise, like I was saying, and it gives a 3 inch advantage all the way around the base to. I mean, you see injuries, people stepping on first baseman's legs, ankles. I mean, you see it pretty, not that often, but semi-often. And I'm a little biased to that whole area. I think this is great.
Yeah, I like it too. I got no complaints. So.
Yeah, well, that's 3 big ones. I think that's the only 3 that have been announced, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, the pitch clock has about 4 or 5 big rules, like, in it, so it's gonna be different.
Yep.
It'll take some time for me to definitely get used to the pitch clock. That's gonna be the wildest part for me.
So enjoy the October postseason, long 4-hour, all shifts, all first base.
So like games. The World Series, are we gonna be like that? Might be the last shift ever.
Yeah, basically. So when Joey Gallo's up against the Astros.
Okay. That wasn't your prediction, though.
When Joey Gallo's up against the Yankees and he's slapping it the
Also
other
your
way. On the
prediction.
Yankees. Yeah. Anyway, we appreciate you guys joining us for this video. We'll have another MLB video probably in about a week or so. Be on the lookout for another NFL video coming up soon. And until next time, peace.